Hello, my name is Benjamin Stefanski. I am a producer and composer. I write under the name Raffertie, and I'm a tutor here at Point Blank. So the live band's sounding good. We're a duo at the moment, and that's with a view to expanding the lineup. This tune I've been with for about a year now, signed with them last April. I did a remix for their sister label, Big Dada, for one of their artists, Bang On. And then after sort of sending a few tracks backwards and forwards, they decided that they wanted to sign me for an album, which I was very flattered about. And the album is still a work in progress. There's still a few things to do on it.
I've been living down in the sanctified home.
I've tried to think about a little bit of a narrative, you know, something which people can connect with, something which people can empathise with, you know, whether it's a state of mind or, you know, an emotion or something like that. So that's something which I've tried to keep in mind. Also, there's something which my music teacher used to say to me when I was, I don't know, 14, 15, and he used to say, it's one thing to watch someone eat chocolate, it's another thing if they share it with you. So I try and maintain that in all my kind of musical endeavours. You know, I try not to let it be kind of just about me. You know, you have to sort of strike that balance somewhere between what people want to hear and what you want to say. I do work with a lot of software, I mean just through kind of budget more than anything else. But no, I do have a few little bits and pieces. I've got an old organ. It's only one manual and it lights up across the front in multicolours. And it takes a little while to warm up. You have to press it a few times and then all of a sudden it just kind of it comes to life. And I mean I've got a guitar and an amp, and I use the amp quite a lot to re-record things, just to kind of give it a bit of resonance. And it's kind of a sound design principle, but you know, you route, you know, a sound out to a speaker, and then you perhaps re-record it through something, so maybe like a vacuum cleaner pipe, or I mean, you can use lots of different things. From my point of view, production often is a lot of common sense. You know, it's learning to use your ears, and it's learning to kind of make the right choices based on what you're hearing. Particularly when you first come to production, there's this idea that, or certainly from my point of view, I had a bit of an idea that I wasn't, somehow couldn't trust my ears. You know, you know, what I was hearing, you know, that must not be quite right, or I didn't quite know how to get to the sound that I wanted to get to. But once you kind of relax, and once you sort of allow yourself and to trust your ears, then you start making much better decisions. I think also what you monitor through is very important. You know, it's I think you're fighting an uphill battle if you haven't got, you know, an accurate means of hearing what you're making. And it's something which I really kind of try and work with the students here. I'll often maybe kind of bring something in for them to listen to, just, you know, something which perhaps they would never experience usually, just to kind of hopefully make them think a little bit differently about music, and you know, learn new ways to listen to music as well.
He really sort of gets involved and like really sort of tries to tailor the course and the experience to your needs. He's also really helped me just with his general production style, where it's so sort of obscure, you can't really categorise it as one particular genre. It's kind of taught me a little bit to kind of just take a step back and maybe not write to a specific genre and just write music for the sake of good electronic music, really.
Brevity for me was more about the sounds, the actual kind of sonorities, and that's something which is kind of key in my work. I really look for ways to kind of get new sounds and unusual sounds. I think kind of structurally, I mean to me the structures kind of make perfect sense. I suppose kind of for onlookers it might, or listeners it might kind of seem a bit odd or a bit unusual, but I think, you know, I mean, I could take you through the tracks, and you know, I think in essence, the structures are quite simple, really. You know, often perhaps there's an introduction, you know, there's maybe a sort of an exposition, if you will, you know, kind of, you know, the main idea of the piece, and then there is a conclusion or a climax, or but you know, it's kind of what you do with that overall structure. It's the little kind of bits that you add or indeed take away that kind of add that little bit of extra sonic interest. And just, you know, kind of dropping a beat here, adding a beat in there, just kind of throwing things off kilter and keeping the listener guessing. Whatever kind of avenue you get into in the music industry, you will have to at some stage deal with the business side of it. You know, whether you're running your own label, whether you're an artist, whatever, you know, you will have to engage with that at some point. And I think for some people, that can be kind of a bit of a make or break, you know, kind of relationship. But I don't think it has to be, you know, I think if you learn about it and you take it in your stride, then there's nothing really kind of that people can't learn or can't work out within the industry. Super's quite simple, really. I mean, I run the label with a good friend of mine, so we sort of we share those parts equally, which is quite nice. You know, it probably would be a lot more difficult if it was just me by myself. The label started off as, you know, something for releasing club records that we wanted to play, and then it's kind of gone a little bit further with releasing. I mean, we released a band called Aluna George. It was during the summer last year, and they have since gone on to do very well for themselves. And you know, I mean, the video last time we looked on YouTube was sort of 150,000 hits, and you know, I mean, it's been our most popular single to date, certainly. I just won't play, letting my life get away. I know full well, I'm not a follower. I don't take things as they come if they bring me down. Life can be cruel if you're a dreamer. I just wanna have some fun. Don't tell me what could be done. We are looking to expand upon that. You know, we've got a new release coming out with Bondax, who are young, up-and-coming producers and have a very kind of wonderful, slightly unusual sound. You know, it's again, I think some of what they're doing, it's very kind of now, and you know, it takes lots of references from other artists that are doing music now, but they do it in their own little way. You know, it's all the kind of little idiosyncrasies which they add to their music, which just makes it unique and something quite special. I think, you know, with a small record label, the only aim that we've ever had is to break even, you know, and consequently that's meant that we haven't really done physical. We've done physical for one release, which we were kind of fairly certain that it was going to kind of sell to DJs. But you know, the reality is the records don't really sell anymore, you know, unfortunately. And so, you know, we're very much kind of based in the digital realm. And you know, we just sort of look at it as if we can break even on all releases, then it's worth our time doing, you know, as long as we're not losing money. And that would be my advice to anyone who's starting up a new record label, to, you know, just make sure that you can cover your overheads and do everything as cheaply as possible. Call in every favour that you possibly can, and yeah, hopefully then it will kind of start to grow, and you know, there may come a point where you can use what you've built up to something more, be it, you know, taking it into publishing, or there are lots of different ways that you can expand upon labels once it's established and once you've kind of got a bit of a name behind yourself. But you know, we're certainly still growing Super, and you know, it's something which will hopefully only go further and further.